Yo, Joe, and what do you know? Welcome to T's Multiverse. I'm your host, Tyrus, and man, we got a lot to cover today because I got a lot to say about what was revealed at the latest G.I. Joe fan screen. Man, I'm going to tell you like this, folks. This was the best reveal live stream show that we've gotten thus far in my eyes, from top to bottom. As a fan of the G.I. Joe brand, since I was a little kid back in the 80s, I finally got to see a lot of figures that I've been wanting from this brand ever since I started collecting the G.I. Joe Classified when it first started, maybe 2 years ago, whatever. But I finally got to see figures that I've been looking forward to, folks. So, this was the best, live stream that I've seen. We got a lot to dive into, folks. There's so many things that just got me so excited. So we're going to get to it, folks. All right, so up first, they covered a few name character reveals that are on the way. So these are these are figures that they don't have digital renders of, or they don't have in-hand versions of just yet. They're just dropping the names. And one of them is somebody that I've been like, okay, when is this guy coming? Come on, Hasbro, bring this guy on, and we're finally getting him, and that is my main man, Quick Kick. Now, I look forward to seeing how they handle his design. He had one of the most ridiculous costumes, if you want to call it a costume. It was like some black pants, no shirt. He had this one, white strap that went across his chest, which had ninja stars. He had two katanas, and the Karate Kid bandana. So he had that. That was his get up, and I just love the character, his personality, his skill set, everything. I just always was drawn to Quick Kid, and I really wish that guy that played Snake Eyes in that live action film would have portrayed Quick Kick. I think he fit that character, but I look forward to seeing how they update him yet and still keep him in that traditional Quick Kick style. I would not stray away from the traditional Quick Kick style. I would maybe give him some shoes because I thought this dude was walking around fighting Cobra with no shoes on, running around everything jungle. So I would give him maybe those Bruce Lee slip-on shoes. I would maybe go that route. But other than that, I would maybe keep his look the same. Dr. Mindbender was one of the most ridiculous looking characters ever, but we all love him. But his costume was pretty ridiculous. A cape, no shirt, these pants with these like little metal straps as suspenders and a cape and everything. So, we're no stranger to weird, crazy costumes. Crop Master is another one. So I would not stray too far away from the classic Quick Kick, with this figure, So I just really look forward to seeing how they handle him. This one is going to be interesting, folks. All right, and up next we have Mutt and Junkyard, yet another favorite of mine that I've been looking forward to as a fan, folks. Again, this live stream brought me a lot of my most favorite G.I. Joe figures that I've been looking forward to. So Mutt and Junkyard is yet another one of those, character / pet sets that we're going to be getting, much like the Crop Master, Fiona, Snake Eyes, and Timber. We had Spirit and Freedom. I look forward to seeing how they handle Junkyard. It's going to be interesting to see Mutt's overall design and what direction they go with him as well. He's another favorite of mine, and I love that dynamic between him and his loyal friend and pet Junkyard. That's one I look forward to seeing how well Junkyard scales, the detailed articulation on his pet and everything. I always thought it was the most awesome relationship that he had with Junkyard throughout that animated series. So look forward to those two there. And then we got one more name drop reveal in the form of Big Boa, another obscure, crazy looking character that was released later on during the G.I. Joe line. But we get that character. I think Lenny was played a big part in wanting that character. I think that's a character that he's been wanting to release for some time. He mentioned him in past live streams. So we're finally going to, so he's finally going to be getting a Big Boy and whoever else is into that character. But it's cool that we're starting to reach into that later G.I. Joe line for those of you who like that Big Boy character. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle his design as well. All right, up next we have digital render reveals. So we actually able to see what these characters are going to be looking like, yet they're not available for pre-order just yet. And up first we have the Firefly, or the classic Firefly, the Firefly that we should have gotten in the very first place, folks. The one that we got initially was during that time when they were still hung up on trying to give us these futuristic takes on G.I. Joes, and they finally got the memo and understood that we want classic versions of these characters. You can tweak the designs here and again, but we want more of the classic versions. That's your demographic, and that's what you need to lean more towards. So this is the Firefly that I've been wanting, as well as so many out there, folks. He looks awesome. Everything that we know of the character is there, along with some of the little minor tweaks that I mentioned and everything. So he looks great. And then up next we have another favorite of mine, folks, that, I tell you, this character here, along with Bazooka, made my Christmas as a kid back in the day. And I loved him in that G.I. Joe movie, and that is Tunnel Rat. Tunnel Rat is so awesome, man. I love this character here. And again, they kept in line with his, classic look, yet at the same time, they gave him, some little added features or added accessories that play into his line of work. He lurks and he goes into the tunnels and everything in the underground areas, and they gave him this night vision goggles that he wears and everything, but it's at the same time he still has all those classic accessories that he had back in the day. He has the little weapon rifle. He has the little lights that you can attach to his backpack. So this is the classic Tunnel Rat that I know and love. Cannot wait to get this guy. He was so awesome. He was such a favorite of mine during that G.I. Joe movie. So look forward to Tunnel Rat. Now up next is yet another favorite of mine, folks. And it's one, I know I'm saying that these figures are favorites, but they are because they were able to capture a lot of the G.I. Joes, if not all of them, but a lot of the G.I. Joes that I've been wanting for my collection, whether it be the earlier G.I. Joes or maybe the ones during that later run when Sergeant Slaughter came into the mix and we was heading more into that G.I. Joe movie. And that is Lowlight. Lowlight is one that I always, was drawn to as well. I loved his overall story arc with, the bad dreams and the nightmares that he had, and why he had those nightmares due to the trauma that he experienced as a kid from his parents and everything, or from his dad. So I love his character, and I like his overall design. It still harkens back to that classic Lowlight design. They did not deviate from, what we all know and love from that character. He looks like Lowlight. The accessories are off the charts. He has a raffle bag that will hold his rifle and all the various components and accessories that you can attach to the rifle. I like that idea. He also has goggles that can be removed so that you can see the rest of his face. That's going to be interesting. So again, this one is one of my most favorite Joes ever of all time. I love Lowlight, and I look forward to the rest of that wave of characters that was released when he came onto the scene. We have Leatherneck and Wetsuit and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see when we get those guys. I feel like we'll be getting those pretty soon, since we have Lowlight and Falcon and all that, and we got to be getting General Hawk. So again, love all the accessories for this Lowlight character. The rifle bag serves as an excellent idea to be able to house all the various weapons and components that attach to his rifle and everything. I like that. I never would have thought of that as a G.I. Joe fan, but that's so awesome. So I'm excited for this character, folks. If you don't know that by now, excited for Lowlight, excited for a lot of these things that we're getting, within this line, man. It's just crazy, man. So we're getting Lowlight. And last but not least, for the digital renders, we were revealed the Shadow Tracker character. Don't know much about this character. He has this weird, crazy, off-the-wall design. Seems like they're moving more into the supernatural side of things for G.I. Joe, which can be interesting. I'm going to do some research on this character here. Don't know a lot about him. The detail looks pretty cool. He doesn't really jump out to me that much. I'm pretty sure that there may be a fan base out there for this Shadow Tracker. It has to be, so for anybody who is in on this guy, he's coming. So we have Shadow Tracker, and again, he comes with, some accessories, and he has various little skull mask and everything that he comes with or whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see how well this character does when he does release this, because I'm not sure exactly how big of a fan base this Shadow Tracker has. I feel like he can really add to the collection, as that weird, mysterious, mystical type of a character. So, I mean, I look forward to seeing him in hand. I think that might be the telltale sign of seeing the Shadow Tracker in hand. So we'll see. Stay tuned for that. Now, folks, we're going to get more into all of the figures that are available for pre-order right now from various online outlets such as Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, Hasbro Pulse, and all that, folks. So let's get to it. And we're going to start off with Copperhead. Now, Copperhead is another classic character from the Cobra side of things that I love, man. Now, I really wish that Copperhead was packaged with that vehicle that he would drive in the animated series. It seems weird to see Copperhead without his little swamp vehicle. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that we maybe get that at some point or another, or maybe a smaller version of that. Who knows? But it feels a little weird to see him without the swamp vehicle. But overall, the detail, the designs, the colors, all harken back to that classic Copperhead. And again, the G.I. Joe team, they're really staying with the classic aesthetic for these characters, and I appreciate that. It feels like they listened and they understand. We don't want you going futuristic with these characters. We want classic characters and their classic versions. You can tweak them here and again. That's fine. But this Copperhead looks awesome. In terms of overall accessories, Copperhead is packaged with a revolver, a holster, a pistol, a machete. So again, we get a lot of great accessories with these G.I. Joe Classified figures. That's one of the things that I really appreciate from this line is that we get some awesome figures, but we also get a lot of accessories with these figures that really bring them to life that much more for us as fans of this line and these characters. So we got Copperhead coming. All right, and then up next we have Bazooka. Now we're getting a classic Bazooka. Now, for those of you who may or may not know, there was a Tiger Force version of the Bazooka that was released. I do have a review up on my channel for that figure, so if you haven't checked it out, be sure to do so. But this is pretty much that same Bazooka. It's just with the alternate shirt color. We have the more classic red shirted Bazooka that we all are more familiar with from that animated series with this figure here. They also colored one of the missiles with a bit of a Crash Dummy yellow color deco, and they also did something to one of his other missiles. So those are maybe the only tweaks that they made to this figure. They added a little bit of color to one of the missiles, but they gave us that more classic Bazooka with the red shirt. But that's about it, folks. There's really no other difference to this figure. It's just a little thing that mean a lot. So there's a little minor things that mean so much to us as collectors and Joe fans. This is the Bazooka that I wanted in the very first place. I've said that in the past, and I say it again. I really wish, he was packaged with his old buddy Alpine. Hopefully we'll get Alpine soon. That's another one that I feel that we'll be getting, so stay tuned for that. Now, this Bazooka has the exact same accessories as its Tiger Force release with the backpack. It also comes with the Bazooka, the 4 rockets that you can house in his backpack. Now, one of the rockets has that Crash Dummy paint deco applied to it, and the other has a minor little paint design on it as well. And then we also have his helmet that you can, place on and off. So we got Bazooka coming up, folks, more classic Bazooka. So for those of you out there who are holding out for this Bazooka, he is available for pre-order right now. So if you're interested, dive on in. Up next, we have yet another one of those classic G.I. Joe characters that I always thought was cool, and that is Torpedo. This character comes with all types of cool accessories. His overall design and makeup really plays up to his line of expertise in the form of that deep sea diver. He was actually the first deep sea diver G.I. Joe character, and then we had Deep Six, and I'm more of a Deep Six guy. I like Deep Six. He's my favorite deep sea diver. Then I got Torpedo, and then I got Wetsuit. I'm very impressed with how they handled this Wetsuit character and his overall makeup. They added a lot of elements that really make this character that much more fun to have as a collector and as a fan of this G.I. Joe character overall. So this Wetsuit guy, again, he looks awesome. He comes with a variety of accessories here. Wetsuit is packaged with a diving mask and tank. He also has a machine gun, a magazine. He has a harpoon gun that looks so awesome. I like that. That really adds to the character. He has a knife. He has flippers, and a partridge in a pear tree. So he comes with, again, these characters are always packaged with tons of accessories that truly play up to who and what they are, overall. And so we have Torpedo coming. He's another one of those guys that I didn't know I would like as much as I do, but now with this reveal, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Torpedo. Even though he's number 2 on my deep sea diver list of G.I. Joes, I am extremely excited, and I look forward to Torpedo. All right, folks, up next, these last 2 reveals are the ones that really drove home the fact that, yeah, this is my most favorite live stream that they've ever done thus far. And we're going to dive into the one and only Shipwreck, the lover known as Shipwreck. Shipwreck was always trying to get the girls on G.I. Joe, whether it be Scarlet and Lady J or CoverGirl. You couldn't leave your girl around Shipwreck because he was going to try to get her, folks. But this character looks phenomenal. The overall detail on this Shipwreck, you can tell they really put their heart and soul into the overall design of this character, man. I mean, the colors, everything truly harken back to, again, what we know and love about this character. I mean, he looks so good, folks. The tones of blues that's utilized for his shirt and his pants, that's there. The texture in his jeans, I noticed, and I really like the overall detail on his belt, the rope that's across his chest. There is a working function for that we'll get into. But man, I tell you, this character looks awesome. Man, I absolutely love that old-fashioned, old-school 1912 pistol that Shipwreck would come with, or what he'd showcase in the old promo arts or the posters for G.I. Joe. I never had Shipwreck as a kid. Never had him at all. So to get him now is a huge deal for me. But I love that old school pistol that he has with him. The colors, everything truly harken back to what we saw or had maybe back in the day as a kid. This figure comes with some pretty awesome accessories overall. Again, this is one of my most favorite, if not my most favorite, reveal of the day with the Shipwreck figure. Shipwreck is packaged with a hat/hair part. Now, the hat is removable, and then you can place the little hair wig on his head, much like Lady J. So that's a cool accessory. I like that option. If you want to have him with the hat or without, you have that. And then we have 2 pistols. You have the old-fashioned 1912 pistol, and you have more of a current pistol that you can put with Shipwreck. He has the hook and the rope. Yet another one of those nostalgic items that we see on the promo arts for Shipwreck, whether it be back in the day or now. That's another accessory that I like and I look forward to getting in hand, is that old school hook and rope accessory. It just takes me back to what we saw back in the day, man. I just love it, man. This figure just reeks nostalgia. I really feel that way. And then most importantly, Shipwreck comes with his good old buddy Polly. Now, Polly is just a huge part of Shipwreck's story arc. Polly was there from the beginning all the way into the very end of the G.I. Joe run, man. This is, you can't have Shipwreck without Polly. And Polly can attach to Shipwreck's in 2 different ways. The rope that they have across Shipwreck's chest can act as an anchor or an attachment for Polly. And Polly has a peg leg, which they added, which was a bit of a new design to Polly. Because, in the animated series, he didn't have a peg leg. He had both feet, but one of his feet is a peg leg, which will tab into either the area of the rope on the upper shoulder or the forearm. So it's a pretty interesting switch up with Polly. So he has that true pirate type of a look to him with the peg leg, which is pretty interesting. But Polly looks awesome. I just think having Polly with the peg leg is really interesting, and it just adds to that fun factor again to this character that we all know and love from that animated series. Now, one feature that I did not notice initially, or I just completely missed, is that the rope can be removed from the Shipwreck figure, so you can have it across the Shipwreck figure's chest, or you can have him without it. So it is removable. You know, folks, this is a favorite of mine. I look forward to Shipwreck and Polly. And again, this figure is available for pre-order. So if you're interested, dive on in. All right, up next, we got yet another hit on our hands in rock and roll. Yeah, man, I love me some rock and roll, folks. I love that rock and roll. But we got rock and roll coming, folks. And this is yet another one of those figures that I was really looking forward to seeing. When they announced rock and roll, I was like, come on, bring him on. I actually had rock and roll, folks, in my G.I. Joe wish list, and I took him off because I found out he was coming. So I'm excited for this guy, folks. I like how they kind of altered his look a bit, yet and still he looks like the rock and roll that we all know and love. He just doesn't come in that all green outfit, which would have been cool, don't get me wrong. But I like the updates that they added to rock and roll. And this is yet another one of those characters that Lenny from the G.I. Joe team was really amped up and all in on. He really put a lot into this figure here, along with the rest of the team, you know, with the added detail and the designs for this rock and roll character to truly play up to his love for not only rock and roll, but being this surfer and everything. You know, it really adds to the character with everything that they've given him, with the tattoos on the hand, the arm and everything, the subtle differences in designs within the costume. But then still, you see the ammo that's across the chest like we had in the original rock and roll. He has the classic rock and roll beard that we know and love from the animated series. So it's still rock and roll, even though they kind of tweaked a few things or whatever. I'm cool with how they made him, man. I like how they updated this character. I'm never against updates for certain character, just as long as you don't deviate too far from how we know and recognize these beloved characters from back in the day. And I think they did a good job of balancing those things out with the character here with the rock and roll. I'm excited for this one. Again, folks, this guy was on my wish list. We're finally getting rock and roll, and I love it. And again, I know Lenny and the rest of the crew are like so excited. You could tell he's excited for this rock and roll. You know, he's all in on this thing, man. And it's so fun to see that for him and for everybody else that's loving this character. I thought he was just the coolest. The fact that he likes rock and roll. His name was rock and roll. He had the ammo across the chest and everything. I thought he was just one of the baddest characters from G.I. Joe. So rock and roll, of course, comes with a number of cool accessories. Much like all the other Joes, we get a lot with these figures. So rock and roll comes with 2 pairs of hands, the helmet, and I like that helmet. Lot of attention to detail that's placed with the helmet. Seems like he has some sort of a device towards the back of the helmet as well that I noticed. A lot of attention played to the helmet. I like that. It's not just the basic, you know, green helmet. They put a lot to that. That's where I appreciate the updates for designs. Just simple things like that really elevates a figure to a whole nother level, and I appreciate that. So we have 2 pairs of hands, helmet, we have a heavy machine gun because rock and roll, man, he liked to have fun. He loved his rock and roll and surfing and all that stuff like that. But he can get down, man. Rock and roll was all about that ammunition and various weapons that he would, you know, have within his arsenal. So, you know, rock and roll was absolutely no stranger to various heavy duty weapons where he utilized tons and tons of ammunition with. So really like that with rock and roll. I thought he was just the coolest, man. Then he also comes with something called a bandoiler, which I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'm about to kind of take another look at this figure to see exactly what that is. He also comes with a ammo can, pistol, and a walkie-talkie. So again, he comes with tons of accessories that truly play up to his role as a G.I. Joe. And again, I like the subtle, you know, changes in design that they gave rock and roll. I really like how one of the swappable hands is in the form of a peace sign, which truly plays up to rock and roll's personality. You know, he loves rock and roll. He's more like that guy that you would see maybe at Woodstock way back in the day. So I really like how they added the peace sign to rock and roll. And again, man, this guy just looks awesome all the way through with the accessories and everything. So I'm really excited for my main man, rock and roll. Up next is a super heavy duty reveal in the form of Scarp-Iron. You know, man, I tell you, this whole reveal was just stockpile was characters that I've been looking forward to seeing. And this Scarp-Iron is truly symbolic of that. I mean, this guy looks fantastic. I mean, from his overall detail with the costume to the sculpted detail and attention that was placed to this face sculpt of the character. They could have easily given us the helmet with the figure and that's it. But they gave us the opportunity to where the helmet is removable to where we can see the face of this character. I've never seen the face of this character in the comics or the cartoons. Maybe if it was done in the comics, I forgot. But the fact that we have a Scarp-Iron where you can actually see his face and the attention to detail that was paid to Scarp-Iron's face with the various scars and the damage that was done is just absolutely phenomenal, man. I love what they did with the Scarp-Iron. Again, personality with the various design and the details that was placed not only with this costume but the face sculpt. The face sculpt says it all. Much like with rock and roll, we have the peace sign that played up to his personality, and then we have the damage, the scars that was placed to the Scarp-Iron character, which plays up to his personality. Now, he is not just about the face sculpt. Again, we have tons of accessories and a semi-vehicle type of accessory. And now, this Scarp-Iron doesn't come with a traditional vehicle per se, but he comes with a supporting type of accessory in the form of a anti-armor attack drone that is articulated to where you can roll this vehicle. It does have articulated missile turrets and tons, and I mean tons, of really cool blast effects, folks, that you can utilize not with G.I. Joe, but with other characters and figures from within your collection. And I like that. It's so cool how the smoke trails are interchangeable to where you can even place this with a character like Bazooka, which was showcased at this event. They took the smoke trail, inserted it into Bazooka's weapon accessory to give it that missile launching effect that truly adds to the figure. So this Scarp-Iron does a lot. You know, not only is he an excellent figure with awesome accessories, but you can share out this thing to other characters and figures. I like, again, how they capture that classic look with Scarp-Iron, yet and still they added little subtle things to really add to the character overall with the colors. He's in that classic navy blue with the red vest that has, you know, a few little attached grenades to it and some other munitions. Overall, the Scarp-Iron comes with a helmet that is removable. That way you can see his face, or you can have him with that classic Scarp-Iron look. I like that option. Anytime you give, you know, a collector the option of helmet, hat, or whatnot, that truly elevates the character or the figure to a whole nother level in my eyes. He comes with a pistol. He comes with a remote, which really plays up to all of the technology that Scarp-Iron is involved in from the Cobra side of things. I like that. Again, the anti-armor drone is an excellent addition. I love that, folks. He comes with 2 missiles, 2 missile launch effects, 2 blast effects, 2 impact effects. So all of those things truly make this figure one of the best, you know, reveals from this G.I. Joe showcase. And again, folks, I'm over the moon excited for everything that they've revealed. But this Scarp-Iron really stands out to me because, again, he's yet another one of those characters that I really wanted. And he was also on my wish list, folks, but I took him off because I found out he was coming. And the fact that they did such an excellent job with this character, just from promo images and what they showcased in hand, has me extremely excited, folks. So, and again, this is truly symbolic of why I feel this was the best G.I. Joe live stream showcase today. So we got Scarp-Iron coming. Again, he comes with tons of accessories. I can't say enough with how impressed I am with how they handled his face sculpt with the various scarring and the damage that he's taken. And it's just real. Again, it just adds to that figure. It gives him that wow effect. Just so many characters that I'm just so excited for. But yeah, this will be hands down one of my all-time favorite G.I. Joe classified items. I'm just completely just blown away and impressed with the Scarp-Iron character. So I look forward to this one, folks. And then up next we have some more army building coming that I really thought was awesome as well. And we have the Valkyrie 2-pack. Now, I like this, folks. I like the fact that we're starting to get more female soldiers within the ranks of Cobra, because, you know, we have the females are there too. So we got to get those in, and they are locked and loaded and ready for action with all types of artillery, blast effects. So I like what they get given the Valkyrie soldiers. They look great. You have an African-American female as well as a Caucasian. You have helmets. You have a gas mask that you can attach to either figure here. I like the fact that you get these Valkyrie characters that you can army build, which truly play up to what I saw in the Worlds Without End G.I. Joe episode, where you had Baroness, who was in charge of this fleet of female soldiers. So you can place these female soldiers with the Baroness or Serpentor, Cobra Commander, or whatever you have, or whatever. But I like the fact that you can place them with Baroness to kind of play out what we saw in the Worlds Without End episode, which was two of the best G.I. Joe episodes ever of all time. I like the fact that they added the more of a tan design to the weapons, vest, and attachments to one of the soldiers. Really kind of sets them apart from the other, and it's different. I like that. I like the different color set that they added to that one of the soldiers. And then you have the other that has the more traditional navy blue with the black spider vest and attachments and everything. So overall, great 2-pack. I think this is awesome, man. I think this is a excellent idea towards bringing more female soldiers into the ranks of Cobra to kind of flesh things out within this whole G.I. Joe line. So this is an awesome idea, folks. Both characters look great. And then last but not least, folks, I got a character that, again, was on my wish list. He was on my wish list, and I had to scratch him off because I saw that he was coming out, and that is Snow Job. Yet another one of those classic G.I. Joe characters. You know, this was the first snowman of the G.I. Joe team. And then later on down the road, we had my main man, Iceberg, who I love. But yeah, Snow Job was the first snowman. I love this character. And to see him in hand and with these promo images, man, I am just so ready and hyped for this character. I always thought he was cool, you know, no pun intended, but he was just the coolest character again. You know, he was one of those guys that you was like, man, he worked out in the snow. He had the little snow outfit and everything. I thought he was just like an awesome character. And you get tons of accessories with this guy to truly play up to who and what he is. You know, I love the red hair, the red beard. Truly harkens back to what we saw back in the cartoon. Again, you know, I can tell that the G.I. Joe team is really trying to stay true to what these characters look like in the animated series as well as the comics. Yet and still, we get the little subtle tweaks, which I can appreciate. So this Snow Job is packaged with skis, ski poles, goggles, backpack, alternate uncovered head. That way you can have him with his head covered in the little snow hoodie or without. He has the little goggles that you can place onto his face to cover, you know, his eyes. This character is so detailed to where he has an alternate head, which harkens back to the classic Snow Job that we did have back in the day. But the face sculpt of this head sculpt actually has a wind burn where the goggles did not protect, which is an excellent idea, man. And again, it's crazy how much attention to detail and to these little things that really elevate a character like this to a whole nother level, you know, along with all the accessories and everything. But wind burn and alternate head scopes that harken back to what we saw back in the day, it's just so nostalgic, man. So you can go super classic or you can go a little bit more modern with this character. Now, along with all the various ski equipment and weapons that Snow Job is packaged with, he comes with this backpack that will house the various ski equipment and his rifle, which is a hallmark of what this G.I. Joe brand is all about. I love how the backpacks, all for the most part, has a working function to where you can stow his various ski equipment and rifle and everything. Again, it truly adds to the personality of what this character is and what he's all about overall. I love this, man. The Snow Job and the Scarp-Iron characters are two of the highlights of this whole entire G.I. Joe showcase, along with Shipwreck, and then you have Rock and Roll, and then Quick Kick. But man, I am just so impressed yet again with the reveal of this Snow Job character. I tell you, I've been looking forward to this figure, folks, from the accessories to the working functions of that backpack. I love how you can stow the rifle into the top of the backpack. I just love that. That just screams G.I. Joe, and it's just an awesome, ingenious idea overall. And I gotta tell you, if they did all this for Snow Job, I look forward to seeing how they handle my main man Iceberg, because they gave Snow Job tons of cool accessories. So I look forward to seeing how Snow Job is going to be handled whenever they do release him. Now, folks, if you look closely in this promo image, you'll see towards the back, in the midst of all the snow and everything, a Cobra Snow Serpent or Cobra Snow Trooper holding a pistol to Snow Job. So I look forward to seeing when they'll reveal this Cobra Snow Trooper and how they handle him overall. So stay tuned for that, folks. Now, in the midst of all of these exciting reveals and everything, the Hasbro team did slide in how these figures and the various sets are going to be priced, which is high. Overall, I mean, they're just getting out of hand with these prices, man. That's why, you know, as a whole, I've really cut back on the Marvel Legends figures that I'm getting, because those figures are just not worth what they're charging. Even though I love the Marvel Legends brand, they're just not worth it. G.I. Joe, I feel like these figures are better quality, and you get more of the G.I. Joe figure. So, you know, I will dive more into the G.I. Joe side of things, though I will be a little bit more selective, you know. So with the deluxe set such as Snow Job, he is going to be $34.99, and then with 2-pack army builders such as the Valkyrie set, that is going to be $54.99, you know. And then the Scarp-Iron set, which is said to be like a figure and some sort of a pet or / mini vehicle, that is going to be $44.99. But again, man, Hasbro is still raising their prices, you know, and that's been the thing, man. They're raising their prices, and the quality on a lot of the figures just don't match that, even though I really feel that you do get a lot with the G.I. Joe Classified brand. That's why I'm going to I stay with this brand in terms of diving in with the figures that I do want. But man, I tell you, their prices are continually increasing. You know, I just wanted to share my thoughts on how they kind of snuck that in the midst of the reveals, and they were justifying the prices, you know, with the accessories. You know, they always got to run to those accessories and say, this is why the prices are the way it is. Woo! All right, folks, that's all I have for this episode. That's a wrap. That was a lot of reveals, whether you talk about digital renders, name drops, and current pre-orders. They gave us a lot to really dive into and talk about and look forward to as fans of the G.I. Joe Classified brand, folks. You know, I cannot wait for Shipwreck. Cannot wait to see Quick Kick. You know, look forward to that Scarp-Iron, the Snow Job, Rock and Roll. Those are characters that I'm really excited for. Really happy that they're including more female soldiers within the Cobra ranks. I think that's awesome. You know, everything else as a whole is just exciting, man. I mean, we're getting classic Bazooka. You know, we're finally getting that classic Firefly that we've all been waiting on. So just so many characters that was revealed today that we all can really be happy about and look forward to. Copperhead, you know, I can go on and on, but man, to have Polly and Mutt and Junkyard, it's just exciting, folks, you know, to get all these characters finally now in today's market. As a G.I. Joe fan from the 80s, it's such a huge and big deal for me. Folks, let me know in the comments, what do you think about all of these reveals? Are you excited? Are you on the fence? Or are you looking to maybe dive into a few, but not all? Definitely let me know in the comments what are your thoughts, folks. Also, be sure to ring that bell for all notifications so that you get each and every one of my content pieces as it drops. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That's right, like, share, and subscribe. If you've done that already, I truly appreciate you, and I thank you all. Also, folks, don't forget, I am on social media on Twitter as well as Instagram. So if you do have those social media outlets, be sure to give me a follow. And folks, until next time, be good to one another, be safe, stay tuned, and always remember that knowing is half the battle. Until next time, folks, bye for now.